We live, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check the chat real quick. Yes, we are. Alrighty, let's not waste any time because we have another live stream to do later on tonight, depending on if you guys are in the stream. But anyway, yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka GLorn33. I am back here today with another video on the channel. This is another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your WrestleMania Backlash full show review and results. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast today, live on YouTube, live on the channel, depending on if you guys are watching live or listening on demand after the stream. Thank you guys for spending some time, taking time out of your joy to talk some wrestling. Taking some time out of your day to, listen to and watch some wrestling. And, you guys get the deal. Watch, discuss, listen. We're going to talk about some WWE. And, look, I'm a little out of shapes. Because I was planning on doing the WrestleMania Backlash review this morning on Monday, but I was asleep. I overslept. And, now I'm doing it now this afternoon. And the thing about it is, I'm recording this on a Monday afternoon. Now we're in the evening time. It's about 6:30 here. And you guys know Monday Night Raw starts around 8. And usually on Mondays, I go live right after Raw goes off the air. So you guys that are, here watching me live, you guys are going to be getting 2 live streams in one day, because I'm going to be ending this, I'm going to try to keep this to about an hour and a half and then end this, because then we got to go watch Raw. And then I'll be right back here around 11:30 to do the Raw review, to discuss more WrestleMania Fallout as we slowly make our road to Hell in a Cell, which is crazy that, Hell in a Cell is happening this early this year. But we'll talk about that and a lot more. But either way, thank you guys for joining me on the podcast, right? I'm hoping to eventually be able to do pay-per-view reviews right after the pay-per-view goes off the air. But right now, we're just not able to do that, just because my schedule is like very, very, very wacky. But either way, the fact that I'm able to live stream, makes up for, makes everything work. Because if I wasn't able to live stream, I would just have to pre-record these podcasts, and then that would make scheduling a lot more, difficult. But the fact that I can go live at any time and talk about this, and you guys are gonna show the same support you guys would. So if it was, right after the pay-per-view, it doesn't make a difference. So, the fact that I can go live at any time really, really helps. And you guys show your support, and that's awesome. So I really appreciate it, that no matter whatever time I post or go live, you guys are going to absolutely kill it with the reviews. But either way, let's talk a little bit about WrestleMania Backlash, right? So WrestleMania Backlash, first off, right, was it a good show? Yes. And this kind of leads me into the opening shoot for tonight. My problem with WWE, my main thing, and I feel like it's more apparent now than ever, is there is a common theme when it comes to WWE TV-wise. I'm not focused on their business. I'm not focusing on anything else. But the main thing when it comes to WWE TV and creative is that WWE has a pattern where they put out really good pay-per-views. Let's be honest. Let's just take the last year, for example, right? Since the pandemic started like last February in 2020, right? You look at all those pay-per-views. Tell me how many bad pay-per-views did we have during that span all the way to now with WrestleMania Backlash? Off the top of my head, I can only really think of maybe 2, maybe 3 max. Maybe, Extreme Rules, the horror show. Maybe Survivor Series. Survivor Series wasn't that good, outside of a couple matches. But for the most part, most of those pay-per-views are actually decent. The problem is the build-up to those shows are complete garbage, especially when it comes to Raw. SmackDown, they have their fair share of bad shows, right? But for the most part, it's Raw's. Raw's creative is so bad and so unbearable that it does a very, very piss poor job of hyping you up for the pay-per-view. And even though the pay-per-view ends up being good, right, you look back and you look at the build-up and the story and, the way that it makes their characters look on the road to getting to these big shows, it makes the show look worse than what it should be. And if they did a better job making Raw and SmackDown watchable with good, consistent, quality television, with storylines that enhance every part of the show and enhance the champions and made things flow better and easier, so that we could go from pay-per-view to pay-per-view to pay-per-view with consistent storyline, with things that we find, engaging, and things that we could get invested into, then we wouldn't be in this, this pit of despair every single week with me having to bitch and moan and complain about Monday Night Raw for an hour and a half. And it gets to the point sometimes where I don't even do the SmackDown review just because I feel like nothing big happened on that show that I need to really make a video about. Like, WrestleMania Backlash was a good show. You had a lot of really good matches. The SmackDown Tag Team Championship match was fantastic. Bianca and Bayley, especially with the work of Bayley in that match, was a really good match. The WWE Championship Triple Threat match, you guys saw how bad that build was and how I kept saying, I have no care for this match going to WrestleMania Backlash. All that matters is that Bobby Lashley retains. But you look back at it, you look at that Triple Threat match. Imagine that Triple Threat took place in front of a crowd. I'm not gonna say I would do this, but I definitely think there would be some people that would compare that Triple Threat match to the Universal Triple Threat match that we got at WrestleMania. I'm not saying the match was better. No. The Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge Triple Threat match from WrestleMania is fantastic. One of the best Triple Threat matches in the last decade. One of the best Triple Threat matches I've ever seen. But definitely, if you had Strowman and Lashley and McIntyre have that match in front of a crowd, with all the action, the nonstop action, the moves that some of these men put on display that we've never seen done, like Braun Strowman doing the cannonball, right? You take that into, you put that in the context. You might have some people that try to make that comparison, and you can honestly sit here and say maybe there is a comparison. You also have Roman Reigns continues to be the best heel in the entire wrestling business. And, it's getting to the point now where I don't believe I'm saying this. Roman Reigns is in the conversation of one of the best wrestlers in the entire world right now. We've always thought of Roman Reigns as, one of the WWE's biggest stars, regardless of him being babyface or heel. But now it's getting to the point where he's operating on such a level, especially when coming to these big matches, that you got to think that maybe, just maybe, Roman Reigns deserves to be in that conversation with the AJ Styles, with the Okadas of the world, when we talk about the best actual wrestlers. Because the way he has performed, especially since coming back and becoming Universal Champion, is undeniable. No matter if it's from KO to Daniel Bryan to Jey Uso to Edge, now to Cesaro, he just keeps delivering and delivering and delivering. So you have this really good pay-per-view outside of the Charlotte nonsense and the fact that they brought zombies in to devour The Miz and Morrison. Outside of that nonsense, this was a pretty enjoyable pay-per-view. But in hindsight, we have to look back on how we got here with Raw and SmackDown, especially Raw. And if WWE could just fix their writers and just fix the way they did their television product, then WWE would be golden. They wouldn't have to worry about the ratings. The ratings would just rise on their own because people would see, oh, this is something I can get into. And they would come back more and more in the next week, and more people would continue to watch. Just like how WWE destroyed WCW back during the Attitude Era. Really, I'm convinced now. I've been convinced of this for a while, but I think it's more apparent than ever that it doesn't matter. WWE's talent pool is so great. They have talent on talent on talent. Every single wrestler in that company can go give you a 5-star match in the ring, or at least 90% of that those superstars. If you give them the time in the ring, you give them the right opponent, you give them the right environment, they can go give you a 4 or 5-star match. I am convinced of that. Almost every superstar in that company, outside of maybe less than 10%. we know how talented WWE's talent roster is. It's about fixing the damn creative side of things, making these writers actually write good, consistent television. It's really not that difficult. It's not. But that's my big thing coming out of WrestleMania Backlash. And I don't know WWE, I don't expect them to notice this because Vince is going to continue doing Vince things. Like, bringing up Hell in a Cell in June. I don't really understand why you're doing that. I do remember back in like 2009, 2010, right? When the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view was a little bit younger, they did do Hell in a Cell earlier in the summer. But, for years now, they've always done Hell in a Cell in October. It's made sense, right, for Halloween, all that stuff. No matter how cringe, the Hell in a Cell matches could be, right, when they have their superstars doing the same fall off the cell spot every single year. Or, they have to give us 3 Hell in a Cell matches just because the pay-per-view is called Hell in a Cell. Even though there's only about 1 or 2 of those feuds or matches that deserve the actual Hell in a Cell gimmick. It's just, I don't understand really why they're moving Hell in a Cell up. I don't. At first, when I really first heard of this, I was like, is Sasha coming back? Are they trying to rush the Sasha Bianca story? Because I was thinking, Sasha's been in every single women's Hell in a Cell match. So, I know people would love to see Sasha and Bianca inside Hell in a Cell. So are they going to, Sasha going to come back early and then they're going to do Sasha and Bianca inside Hell in a Cell? I don't know. But, I'm also thinking here, Sasha shouldn't come back until we have fans. I don't want to see Sasha Banks again until we have fans back in attendance. And that's coming sooner rather than later. Because, now they just announced here in Boston that May 29th, everything's open again. The mask mandate's still there, but almost everything's opening back to 100% capacity. So we are finally seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost there into this, whatever this new normal is going to be. But, I'm just thinking, why are you doing Hell in a Cell now in June when, unless you're actually planning to have fans? I think that Thunderdome contract keeps going until like the end of June, early July. I believe that's the case. So I'm thinking, why would you bring Hell in a Cell, a pay-per-view, a match that should be done with fans? Why would you do that without fans? I don't have an answer yet for why they brought up Hell in a Cell, but it's like, I don't know. So, but, as we get more information on that, I'll let you guys know. But it says, I find it wacky. All right, let me look in the chat real quick. Because like I said, I'm going to try to get this done before 8. For those of you guys who are watching live, I'm going to try to get this done, which, try to have this done in about an hour and a half. But I do have a lot I want to say about this show. Let's see who's in the chat real quick. What up, Dyer? Dog, what's going on? Like, Dog, like I said, that's a rumor. Until we see Sasha come back, for all we know, it could be Bayley and Bianca inside Hell in a Cell. Like, I don't think I want to see Bayley and Bianca inside Hell in a Cell, but we'll have to see. Maybe it ends up being a triple threat match. Like, when was the last time we had a triple threat Hell in a Cell match? I don't remember. Maybe why is it so hot in here? What up, Paul? Paul's, on your Charlotte garbage again? Of course you are. I did hear about the Jimmy and Jay thing. JD says Bayley and Bianca, but not in a Hell in a Cell match. Here's the thing, kind of makes sense that you have at least one women's Hell in a Cell match. Like, they could just end up doing men's Hell in a Cell matches, but, it's kind of become a theme now that WWE always does one women's Hell in a Cell match. Unless they're planning on doing, Asuka and Rhea Ripley. I mean, not Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, which I have no interest in seeing. But I don't know. But we'll talk about Hell in a Cell as we go through this card. But like I said, it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a bad show at all. It was pretty enjoyable. It just really pisses me off how WWE seems to get it right when it comes to the actual pay-per-view, but the build-up to the pay-per-view, especially Raw, is just garbage every single week. But here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do. There's only about 7 matches on this card, so I don't know how quickly we're going to get through this, right? If we get through this quickly, you guys can ask questions in the chat, and we'll talk about it here, but I don't know. We only had about 7 matches, which, like I always say, that's a perfect number for a pay-per-view. You should not be having a long pay-per-view card with, 9, 10 matches, right? 14 matches like they have at WrestleMania every year. You don't need that. It's just, you're putting too much on the card. And then you're just draining the life out of the audience. And we don't need that. So, Sheamus came out during the pre-show, and he issued another non-title open challenge. I know that Humberto got injured on Raw, and that was legit a real thing. And I hope Humberto comes back quickly, and he's okay. I thought, if anything, they might just do Sheamus versus Mansoor, because they had a little bit of a story going on. It was like a little side thing going. It was a little side thing that was a little side thing that was going over for Sheamus while he was feuding with Humberto. But there was no Mansoor on the show. And now my charger's not working. Wow, fantastic. But instead, for the open challenge, they had Ricochet come out. And you guys know I did say that Ricochet should be, in that United States Championship picture. The guy's a great talent, and he's been misused for years now. If we're being honest, Ricochet should probably be a multiple-time U.S. champion at this point in his career. And if there's anybody who has been, not used properly on the main roster, it's Ricochet. He's the definition of NXT talent that has been mishandled on the main roster. There's a lot of names, but I feel like we all know that Ricochet is at the top of that list. So then Ricochet comes out, and I kid you not, I didn't watch the pre-show. I actually had to ask my boy, Frank, to confirm this for me. Ricochet came out in street clothes. He was wearing jeans and a jacket. So he came, I don't know if that was meant to be the case. If, he found out last moment. He was back in catering, having some of Titus's, smokehouse BBQ. And then they told him last minute, hey, we need you for a pre-show match. And they just said, yeah, come out as you are. But he came out in street clothes. All of a sudden, he attacked Sheamus before the bell. He actually put on Sheamus' hat and his robe. And, that got Sheamus really angry. So, Sheamus hit him with a headbutt. And, he dominated, most of the match. But then Ricochet was able to break free. He hit a springboard clothesline, then a shooting star press into a springboard moonsault for a 2 count. Ricochet then dropped Sheamus with a backstabber and hit a 450 splash. Sheamus kicked out of a roll-up and hit a bro kick to the face for the win. So this was not a bad match. The thing about it is, you gotta think Ricochet's going right back to catering. Ricochet should be in the United States title picture. This could be an actual feud. We know how good Sheamus is. We know how good Ricochet is, despite the fact that they refuse to use it properly. But we know how good both of these are, and how, given the time, these two could give us a classic United States title match. They could easily steal the card on any given night. And it's sad that Ricochet is being used in this matter. The fact that they had him come out in street clothes, it doesn't matter if he knew last minute or before. The fact that that's what they're telling you, hey, go out wrestle in street clothes, that tells you what WWE thinks of Ricochet. The fact that this guy is not being used, and he's been ridiculed to just being on main event here and there, and other than that, back in catering, why wasn't he released with the rest of the talent? Why was he released when Samoa Joe and Chelsea Green were? Allow this guy to go be great somewhere else if you're not going to use him. He's too good. He's too good. And even though Ricochet looked good in this match, is this going to be a feud going forward, or is this as a one and done just for them to fill in time on a pre-show? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But and here's another thing I didn't even mention. Ricochet attacked Sheamus out after the match. Like, why? You got beat clean. You got beat clean. So, I don't know. I don't trust WWE when it comes to using Ricochet. I don't think, this is going to end up being anything important for Ricochet. If he does get used, I'm happy because you have too much talent in that mid-card division to not have a good United States Championship division. You have Ricochet, you have Mansoor, you have Alberto Carrillo, you have Sheamus, you have so many other names that I'm not even thinking of. Because I would have to go look at WWE's roster. But there's too many names that WWE could be using. So, I don't know. You have Ricochet get beat clean and act like a sore loser after the match. I don't like that. I don't like that. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with Raw tonight. Like I said, we have Raw in about a little over an hour here. So, we'll see if, this means anything for Ricochet going forward. I'm not going to have faith. I'm not going to have hope. I'm not even going to really think about it. I'm just going to wait and see just like the rest of us. When we'll see if this means anything for Ricochet. All right. But, yeah, that was the pre-show. I see you guys having questions in the chat. Save your questions for later, guys. I'm not going to go answering all that. If we have time near the end of the podcast, I'll answer them then. But, I kind of want to stay on topic for right now. But, what up, Dennis? What up, Malik? Hope you guys are all staying well. Ricochet is dead, Paul. Dead and buried. Anyway, let's get into the actual card. So, next up, getting into the actual card, we start off the show with Rhea Ripley versus Asuka versus Charlotte in a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. And I was watching this on Discord with a couple of my friends, and I was like, really? This is how we're going to start the show? Because I am convinced, I said this before, I am convinced that Charlotte's winning that title. If it wasn't going to be at this show, it's going to be at Money in the Bank. The only reason why she wouldn't win it tonight is A, to get Asuka out of the title picture, and B, to have Rhea Ripley get one title defense. And that's what we got. That's what we got tonight. We got both Asuka being taken out of the title picture officially. Yeah, I don't see Asuka getting another title match anytime soon after getting pinned cleaned again for like the fourth time in the last month, continuing to do Asuka dirty. And then Rhea Ripley gets a title defense. But, of course, Charlotte gets protected, right? Charlotte doesn't get pinned or submitted. She wasn't involved in the decision. So then you have the idiots on Twitter saying, oh, Charlotte didn't lose, even though technically you're part of the match. It's a triple threat match. Either you win or you lose. There's no middle ground just because you didn't get pinned or submit, clowns. I couldn't believe how many people were actually saying this. So, you guys know my thoughts on Charlotte. If you guys have watched the Raw reviews over the last month, if you guys have been watching me for any amount of time, you guys know I am not a fan of Charlotte. I don't care about Charlotte. It's that simple. I don't care. So, anyway, so you guys know I don't care about Charlotte. I'm convinced that Charlotte's going to be the one to end up burying Rhea Ripley at the end of this. Because the way Rhea Ripley has looked since she's been called up to the main roster, it has been awful. She looked a little better tonight, but this is still a far cry away from the Rhea Ripley I knew and loved in NXT. It's just not the same character. You can say the same thing about Bianca, which we'll get to in a little bit later. All right. I don't need to see Charlotte ever win a women's title again. I don't want to see it. I have no interest in seeing it. It's time for Charlotte to start putting other people over. That's to be Charlotte's role at this point in her career. She's won all the titles. I have no interest in seeing her as champion at this point. She doesn't put anybody over. She doesn't elevate the women's division. So that's why going into this, especially with this match opening the show, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, ugh. Like, damn, because in my mind, I'm convinced that Charlotte's most likely going to win. Plus, I can't stand watching her wrestle in general. So, I was like, all right, either Rhea Ripley needs to win. Just even though Rhea Ripley has looked awful as a champion and has been booked horrific, I'd rather see Rhea Ripley win. Or I wouldn't even be mad if Asuka regained the title here. Right? Because I'm still angry about how Asuka's been treated as, champion over the last year. How she's been booked. Has she had one of the worst women's championship reigns in the history of the title, even though she held it for the better part of a year. So here we had. So let's get into the match itself. Let's get into the match itself. I'm looking at it. So all three competitors circled each other. Charlotte run out of the ring. Classic heel thing, right? Like you two fight out between each other. So Asuka and Ripley forced her back in, and they teamed up on her and then focused on one another. So then Charlotte pulled Asuka out of the ring and hit a fallaway slam. So then Ripley and Charlotte played the game of one-upmanship, and then Charlotte, went for some dirty moves. Then Charlotte, she tripped Rhea on the apron before rolling Asuka back into the ring for an illegal choke against the middle rope, right? Then Asuka got up, and then she hit a flurry of strikes. Ripley then went on a rampage and almost scored the win with a Northern Lights suplex. Charlotte got both of them out of the ring and took them out with a moonsault from the top turnbuckle. And every time, I said this when I was watching the match on Discord, every single time I see Charlotte do a moonsault, I cringe in disgust. Her moonsault is awful. It never lands. I don't care how pretty it looks in the air. I'd rather you do a half-ass moonsault that actually, lands on your opponent. Notice how when they show Charlotte's moonsault in a video package or anything like that, they don't show the ending because they know how bad she lands. And so never fix it. If she hasn't fixed it for the last 6 years of her career, she's not going to fix it for any time going forward. So then Asuka and Rhea teamed up to hit a double suplex on Charlotte. So then Charlotte eventually hit a double natural selection, which I actually thought she was going to get the win. But she wasn't able to. Rhea was able to take advantage of a mistake from Charlotte. And then, because I believe Asuka hit Charlotte with a hip toss that led Charlotte out of the ring. And then Rhea hit Asuka with a riptide and got the pin 1, 2, 3. There you had it. And then afterwards, you had Rhea Ripley, mocking Charlotte at ringside, who was disappointed in herself and frustrated for the loss. So clearly, the big thing here is Rhea retains in her first title. I don't really count that title defense from a couple weeks ago from the night after Mania. That was garbage. This was actually a decent triple threat match. Putting my hatred for Charlotte aside, this was a decent triple threat match. And, at least Rhea looked a little bit better. But big thing here is clearly Rhea and Charlotte, they're not done. This is going to lead into Hell in a Cell. Will it be a Hell in a Cell match? We'll see. I don't know. If WWE wanted to, I guess they can say it's worthy of Hell in a Cell because of the history between Rhea and Charlotte. What happened last year in the Performance Center at WrestleMania 36. What's going on now with the Raw Women's title. Clearly, Rhea does not like Charlotte. Charlotte, doesn't like Rhea. So they could make that into a Hell in a Cell match, but I'm not interested in really seeing that. I don't really have any care to see these feud, regardless. I don't want to see it. I don't. Another thing I want to mention here is Asuka. What this does is it basically takes Asuka out of the title picture. I don't know if Asuka's gonna, be taking a vacation, take a little bit of time off, and then come back, refeud. I don't know. They'll have Asuka feud with somebody else in the meantime. Even though I don't know what you do with Asuka right now. It's just disappointing to see how Asuka has been booked over the last year. A lot of casuals will say, oh, she was the Raw Women's Champion. She held it for almost a year, ever since Becky left. Guys, look at Asuka's title reign. Look at what Asuka did after that. She did nothing. The only memorable thing she did was the match with Sasha Banks, the feud with Sasha Banks and Bayley over the summer. I went back and watched the Asuka and Rhea Ripley match from WrestleMania. That match is overrated. For people that say it's a good match, it's an okay match at best. It's an overrated match with a terrible rush finish. It's disappointing. When Asuka was Raw Women's Champion, she didn't defend the title. She didn't do anything with it. She had that one match with Mickie James, which never really was a match because it was botched. And you can see now, especially with how Mickie has been treated, that the company had no care for Mickie back then, which actually hurt Asuka in the long run in her title reign. And what else did Asuka do? Nothing, really. She had a couple matches with Zelina Vega that were okay, but no one remembers that, really, because WWE never made us believe that Zelina Vega was a real threat to Asuka. So nobody even remembers that match. Then you have Charlotte come back at TLC. You have Asuka actually go to team with Charlotte. They win the Women's Tag Team Championships, and no one cares. They actually make Asuka focus more on defending the women's tag titles than defending her actual Raw Women's title. And then she finally loses the title to Rhea at Mania, and then you look back at it, she basically did nothing with the title. And it's not her fault, because if I'm having Asuka as my champion, I'm booking her like the way she was in NXT, when she was undefeated and held the title for over 500 days. But now you look at Asuka now, she just came off a long title reign, where she was double champion during that reign, but there's nothing memorable about anything she did in the last year other than the matches with Sasha and Bayley over the summer when they were feuding. And that's me being honest. And now, right, you have Asuka out of the title picture. And the thing about it is, what's worse is, you had Rhea beat Asuka like 3 or 4 times over the last month. You had Rhea beat her at WrestleMania. You had Rhea beat her last week on Raw, thanks to, interference by Charlotte, but still, a win's a win. And now tonight, you have Rhea pin Asuka again. So where does Asuka go from here? I don't know. It's disappointing if you ask me. It really is disappointing. That you have someone as great as Asuka, who loves this business, and you guys who know Asuka and know her track record, knows she could have been done and used so much better during this time. She was the one that should have been the face of the women's division outside of Sasha and Bayley after Becky left. And even though she had a couple moments here and there, when you look back at it, it's just disappointing that this is where it ends up. And now that Asuka's out of the title picture, we have no direction for her going forward. I honestly just hate that. It pisses me off a lot. So we'll see what happens with Asuka. We'll see, but it just sucks. It really does suck that you have someone as talented as Asuka. I even saw Batista. Come out and say that they're not using Asuka correctly, and some clown commented saying, "Oh, Asuka just held the title for a long time. What are you talking about?" And Batista went off on that guy because Batista understands. Just because it's one thing to hold a title, but who cares if you do nothing with the title? Batista saw that. But even Batista saw that, man. It's just disappointing. It's disappointing that this is how it ended up for Asuka. It really does. It's not saying that Asuka will never be champion again. I feel like it's more likely than not that she will be. But for right now, just looking back at it, I don't care. You can say anything you want about the accolades Asuka has, right? She's won every title. She's won Money in the Bank. She's won the Women's Royal Rumble. She's one of the most decorated women in WWE history when you really look at it. But if you really just look at those reigns and those, how she's been used, especially when you compare it to her NXT self, it's just disappointing. It really is just disappointing. That's it. All right. In terms of Rhea and Charlotte, I have no care for it. I just hope Rhea, retains the title because, like I said, I have no desire to see Charlotte as champion ever again. And I don't know what Becky's going to do. Maybe they're saving Becky's return for Money in the Bank, right? Because I've been hearing rumors out that Becky could come back any day now, especially since Becky already re-signed her WWE contract. So she's like with the company long term now. So we'll see. Like I said, Becky could always end up on SmackDown with Seth, especially if WWE's touring schedule. Because we know WWE's going to be touring again starting in July. And especially now with things, opening back up in the world. It's going to be interesting. So maybe they're setting up Becky versus Rhea for SummerSlam. I would have no problem with that. I want to see Becky and Rhea Ripley. Even though this version of Rhea Ripley is far from the Rhea we got in NXT. But I still want to see the match. So we'll just have to wait. It's going to depend on what brand Becky is on when she comes back. If Becky ends up on SmackDown, you could do the Sonya Deville route. I've already said it. I said it a couple weeks ago. Even though Money in the Bank is not taking place in June, whenever it happens in July, because that's I feel if we're having Hell in a Cell in June and Money in the Bank in July, SummerSlam in August, my picks for Money in the Bank would be Aleister Black and Sonya Deville. Those would be my personal picks. All right, and I would have Sonya cash in on either Charlotte or Rhea Ripley. Have this storyline with Adam Pearce keep going. Eventually, she gets back into the ring because I think Sonya is highly underrated in the ring, and then eventually Sonya, wins the Raw Women's Championship by cashing Money in the Bank, and that's how you actually make a new start in the women's division. That's my thoughts on that. But yeah. Moving on, we had the Dirty Dogs versus Rey and Dominic Mysterio for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So on the pre-show, Dominic was attacked by Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and I think I forget what it was. It was some kind of crate. It was something that they dumped on his head, or not on top of him, and then he was in the trainer rooms, really selling his ribs, and. At first, when I first heard it, I thought the trainer said Ray's gonna have to find a new partner. I was like, are they gonna have somebody else be Ray's partner? Is somebody gonna come back tonight? But instead, Ray just came out by himself. So I got a little confused with that when I first heard it. Dominic tried to come out the first time, but Ray told him to stop. But either way, this was fantastic. All right, so. Basically, and I don't care. First of all, I hate these little mini handicap matches. Even though Dominic came out early in the ring, for about 70% of this match, Ray was on his own, and I just hate them because you have two talented superstars, right? Two former champions, single champions, in Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. It doesn't matter how good Ray is, you shouldn't be able to survive in a handicap match with people like that. Here in the early run, Ray dodged all the moves from from Robert and Dolph. He dodged everything from that they tried to hit him with. But eventually, Roode was able to hit him with a forearm. And the thing is, Roode and Ray dominated this match, right? So Roode and Dolph just kept doing quick tag after quick tag. They were attacking his legs to keep him grounded, to keep him from using his speed to try to keep them off balance. And the thing about it is, they did big move after big move. There was a move where Robert throws Ray to the outside, and Dolph's waiting and hits him with a super kick. I was like, damn, I thought that was the end of the match. Ray sold it beautifully. And the thing about it is, Dolph didn't even slap his leg, because you guys know WWE says you can't slap your legs anymore. To try to make more of a slap sound when you do a super kick move or something like that. But the way Dolph hit it, I was like, damn, I would not be surprised if Ray just got a concussion. It was a brutal kick. There was also another spot where I think it was I forget what it was. It was a suplex into a famouser, something like that. There was multiple times where the match should have been over. like over. If it was normal SmackDown, it would have been done. But Ray kept kicking out, and I was just like, oh shoot, you know. And even though as great as this match was, it was just damn. If Rude and Ziggler, they lose after having that kind of advantage, it doesn't matter. They're gonna look retarded and stupid at the end of the day, right? Because they didn't finish off Ray sooner. So basically, they went for a double suplex. Ray was able to counter into a WWE DDT a double DDT to give him some breathing room. So then Dominic limped over to the ring holding his ribs. Like I said, he did a really good job of selling that. So he got into the match. But at first, Ray refused to tag him in, even though Dominic kept insisting on it. And because it was like, Ray was like, nah, I can't, man. You're my son, right? I got to protect you first, right? You being protected and you being safe is more important than us being tagged champions. There's always going to be another time. But Ziggler hit him with a zigzag. Ray was barely able to kick out. So after a while, after all the punishment that Ray took in, he finally tagged Dom in. Dom took Dolph off the apron with a clothesline, and then he went after Rude. Rude hit him with a beautiful looking spine buster, right? Dominic then made another comeback. He hit a big splash from the top rope to get the pin and win the tag titles with his dad, which was a great moment. Ray did do a 619 on Rude, and that kind of set up for the Frog Splash. But still, this was a fantastic tag team match, if you ask me. Even though Dominic wasn't there for for most of it, that's the storyline, the emotion. And the only thing I can really say is, why didn't you save this for when fans came back? If you're knowing fans are going to be back in, about 2 months, right? Less than that at this point. Like, why are you not, taking advantage of that? Unless you have another bigger plan here for the tag titles, which I don't know if they do, right? But it's just like, imagine if you did this in front of a crowd, because people have been wanting this. This is the first time we've ever seen a father and son win tag team championship go together. And that's crazy just to say out loud, but it's a natural stat. Ray and Dominic are the first father and son duo to win WWE tag team titles. And, it was emotional. They were hugging it out, after the match, celebrating on their way back to the back. But it was great. It was a great moment. I just thought, why didn't they save this great match for after, or, fans came back? But it also leads me to quickly my other point on this match. Are Ray and Dominic, how long do they hold the titles for? Because I've insisted on this, and I know WWE needs to do it. The Usos are going to win those titles at some point in the future. As soon as this whole Jimmy and Jay thing with Roman has wrapped up, and most likely it ends up with Jimmy joining and standing side by side with Roman and Jay, right? Eventually, the Usos are then going to come after the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It's that simple. So, I still want, and I'm going to keep saying it, I want the Street Profits versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles at SummerSlam. That should be the match. So, maybe this is how they do it. Maybe the Usos win the titles from Dominic and Ray, and then, they eventually drop the titles to the Street Profits at SummerSlam. I don't know. But that should be the direction. I'm not hating on Ray and Dominic as a tag team. I like the Dirty Dogs. I like Dolph and Ziggler, right? Or I know Dolph and Ziggler. I have Dolph and Robert Roode. I like them. They fit perfectly with one another. And hopefully they stay as a tag team going forward. It's a good mix of their, their past gimmicks. But even though Ray and Dominic won, I just don't see them being, champions that long. I don't. We'll see what happens. But as long as I get the Usos and the Street Profits at SummerSlam, just those two teams. I don't want it to be like a fatal four-way, tag team turmoil nonsense, right? I really, really want it to be Street Profits and the Usos at SummerSlam, and hopefully we get that. Hopefully that's where this all leads. All right, but Paul says he wants to see Usos and Street Profits at Mania. I just don't see how WWE. I just don't see how WWE can wait that long. I don't trust them to be. I don't trust them to be patient and wait till WrestleMania to do that match. I don't. But we'll see. We'll see. But either way, great match. Great moment for Dominic and Ray. It would have been a better moment if you had fans there, if you ask me. But either way, still really happy for them. And, we'll see how they are. SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Let me use the bang. What do we got on time? It's about 7:11. We got plenty of time. Let me use the restroom real quick, guys. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Woo! Sorry about that, yo. Anyway, next up, we have Bayley and Bianca BelAir for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Well, okay, I did not do a I didn't do a SmackDown review last week because I was planning on doing one Saturday, but I had a graduation party. So that didn't ruin, it just it messed up all my plans. And, I didn't want to do a stream Sunday right before WrestleMania Backlash, right? Because then I would have done predictions and all that, and that would have took too much time. So, you guys didn't really get my thoughts on the Bayley and Bianca promo. Look, if you guys have watched, I know a lot of you guys watch JD just like, I do. I know a lot of you guys watch BC Amplified just like I do, right? Look, guys, Bianca BelAir, this is not the same Bianca from NXT. That promo she cut on Friday, and I don't 100% blame her. I blame a lot of this on the writers. I blame a lot of the people backstage not understanding NXT characters and not doing their fucking jobs. I'm sorry, but I don't care how successful Vince McMahon is. If you're gonna bring up talent from NXT, it's your job to watch NXT. Make some time out of your schedule, because if you're the one that's in charge of Raw and SmackDown, right? Because you make the decisions. Vince has the final say when it comes to everything. Then, if you have the final say about everything, then you need to know the characters that are going to be, presented on your television product. Bianca BelAir, right now on the main roster, the way she's being presented is awful. I'm sorry. There was a poll taken before WWE Wrestlemania Backlash. This is not me. I have nothing to do. I don't work for WWE or anything. If I had the poll in front of me, I would put it on the screen. But there was a poll taken before WrestleMania Backlash, and it was It was who are you guys rooting to win at Backlash? 75%, and I'm not kidding. You guys, if you guys want to go, it's probably somewhere on WWE's Twitter page. Or I saw WWE The Bump retweeted as well. Over 75% of the vote was people voting for Bayley to beat Bianca. And remember, like it or not, Bayley's the heel. Bayley's the heel in the storyline. You should be wanting to see Bianca win. She's playing a sympathetic babyface character. That's her character right now. And that's not the character she was in NXT. Even as a heel. And I don't want to hear people say, oh, in NXT, she played a heel for the most part. Yeah, Bianca's a babyface. She could be a babyface on the main roster. Nobody's saying that. But the way it's presented doesn't align with her character no matter what she is. Why the hell is she talking about her haters in her promos when in NXT she never mentioned that once? She never gave a crap about haters in NXT. She didn't even mention it. All she cared about was herself. She's the EST. That's what it's about. I'm the best at what I do. And I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to talk about it afterwards. What the hell is Bianca talking about? Oh, her doubters. Her NXT character didn't give a shit about doubters. That's why she never mentioned it. Like, you kidding me? Casey, yeah, you're right. Bayley won the poll by over 50%. That should not be the case at all. Even if Bayley was more popular than Bianca, right? Way more popular. Bianca just being the babyface alone should at least have a poll like that a little more, competitive. This is what I'm talking about. You guys get on me for saying, oh, Sasha should have won at WrestleMania. What has this done for Bianca? Someone explain that to me in the chat, really. For real. What did the WrestleMania victory truly do for Bianca? I'm honestly going to sit here for a sec and wait for someone in the chat to answer me that question. Because you guys say, oh, Bianca had to win because it's how you make stars. Someone show me that. Yo, Dennis, that's cringe. Don't ever say that again. That's cringe. Anyway, someone in the chat tell me, for real, what did the Bianca WrestleMania victory do for her? Because the main thing everyone told me is, oh, Bianca has to win because that's how you make stars. Here we are. We're over a month now into Bianca's reign, and I don't feel that much differently. I was a Bianca fan before WrestleMania. I just kept saying that the way Bianca's been booked and the way she's been presented is garbage. I bring it up almost every podcast. The fact that you had Sasha bitch slap Bianca and she did nothing makes my point. It didn't matter how bad the storyline was. It didn't matter how good the storyline was. Because the storyline with Sasha wasn't good. The story here with Bayley wasn't good. Even though both the WrestleMania match and the Backlash match that we just saw last night were pretty damn good matches. The match at WrestleMania was Bianca's best match ever. And was one of the best WrestleMania matches ever for women's wrestling. Probably the best women's match in the history of WrestleMania. And then you look at the Backlash match that we saw last night with Bayley. Another great match because Bayley carried it. Bayley is an amazing heel. And she showcased why she should have had a match on the WrestleMania card. And I still find it a travesty. You could have Bayley face anybody really. The fact that Bayley did not have a match on that card and you regulated her to being thrown down the ramp by the Bella Twins is horrific. And I'm not going to get over that. I'm not. But so, honestly, I'm about to look at the chat. I'm going to look at the chat in about 15 seconds. I want to see someone tell me what did the WrestleMania win do for Bianca. And I swear if I see it made her into a bigger star, I'm going to lose it. Someone tell me that. Answer me the question. Let's look in the chat. Let's look at the chat. Let's see. I'm looking. I'm looking. Oh. Look. I look in the chat. I haven't seen one person. Not one. Not one person said anything about what the Bianca victory at WrestleMania did for her. I'm seeing people, right? I'm seeing people telling me that they just want Sasha Banks back. Oh. But yo wanted Sasha to put Bianca over though, right? Yo were the people telling me that Sasha has to put Bianca over at WrestleMania because Bianca will be buried. And if they wait to do Bianca and Sasha at SummerSlam and have Bianca win the title there, then Bianca won't have the momentum. Oh, the same people that were telling me that Sasha has to put Bianca over are now the same people wishing that Sasha was back. Oh, Paul, it made her SmackDown Women's Champion. But nobody gives a shit about Bianca as SmackDown Women's Champion right now. And I'm a Bianca fan. I know, yes, a lot of people know I can be biased when it comes to Sasha Banks. But I'm being objective. This is about Bianca. This is not about Sasha. What did the WrestleMania victory do for Bianca? We're gonna stay on this. Honestly, we have about 40 minutes to Raw. I have plenty of time. We'll get the Roman. We'll get to the WWE Championship, but let's stay on this for a little bit longer. What did Bianca beating Sasha at WrestleMania do for her? Outside of making her the SmackDown Women's Champion, even though there's a lot of people that don't care about it, the ratings are not doing good. Bianca's, presentation hasn't changed. She had one good promo 2 weeks ago that I did mention. If you guys remember, 2 weeks ago, Bianca did cut a really good promo on Bayley. But anything that promo did 2 weeks ago, was ruined based on what they did with Bianca on Friday. That Bianca and Bayley segment on Friday was not good. Outside of the end when Bayley was like, oh yeah, I see someone like me. I see the old me in the way you're trying to make yourself look right now. I don't know. I'm sitting here looking at the chat. I'm sorry for people watching this on demand after the stream. If you guys are watching this after the stream, you may just want to click through. Or you can put the live chat option on. You guys can see how the chat's reacting. But, let's get the chat. I don't know, man. I didn't say Sasha needs to come back. Those words didn't come from my mouth. That's the chat. I've said Sasha should not come back till there's fans. I don't even want to see a Sasha and Bianca rematch till SummerSlam. Even though it would feel weird to see Sasha not be in a women's Hell in a Cell match since he's been in all of them, right? And I feel like Sasha versus Bianca inside Hell in a Cell would be fantastic. I don't want to see Sasha come back till there's fans, which will most likely be Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. But come on, guys. Someone explain to me, please. Please. Is Bianca a bigger star now? Ever since he beat Sasha? I don't know. Other than the Bianca fans who were with Bianca before she won at WrestleMania, is Bianca a bigger star now? I don't know. I'm looking at the chat. You guys have no answer for me. The bots guy. Is that the actual bots guy? Like the YouTuber who does the reactions and all that? I don't know. Like, I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there. So sorry if I don't recognize you based off your profile pic. Do we actually have the bots guy in here? Just to play devil's advocate for fun, I feel Bianca did get some credibility with the win versus Sasha. Bianca is a fantastic talent, and I think they wanted to give her a decent rub going forward. Oh, it is him. Good to see you, bro. Big fan. That's awesome. So we got the actual bots guy in here. That's nice. Here's my thing, people. Here's my thing. because the boss guy's the only guy that actually gave me a nice answer. They want to give her a decent rub. Here's the thing. I said this for months, people. I said this for months. Don't get mad at me. I said if Bianca loses to Sasha at WrestleMania, it's not going to hurt her momentum. Really. Is it actually going to hurt her momentum when there's nobody else in that women's division built up? Who else was going to challenge Sasha throughout the summer? You really thought Bianca was not going to be used anymore? No. If Bianca had lost to WrestleMania, especially with the match that we got at WrestleMania, right? People would be wanting another Sasha and Bianca rematch. And WWE would have no choice to give it to us. WWE's already planning the rematch for Sasha and Bianca. We don't know when it's going to be, but we know it's in their plans. No matter what, we don't know where Sasha is, right? We don't know if she's off filming The Mandalorian or if she's got time off. We don't know that. That's not our business. But we know whenever Sasha does come back, it could be this Friday on SmackDown. It could be at Money in the Bank. It could be at SummerSlam. Whenever she does come back, she's going after Bianca, no matter what. That's happening no matter what, right? The rematch is happening. So if the win for Bianca that everybody told me for 6 months, right, had to happen, if the win had to happen so badly that it hasn't done anything for Bianca coming out of WrestleMania, you should have just kept the title on Sasha and built Bianca up for SummerSlam. Because Bianca's character right now is not good. It's not. It's a far cry away from what we saw in NXT. It really is. And I'm sad. I hate saying that. Bayley's carrying Bianca right now in this feud. It's not the other way around. When more people want Bayley, who's the heel, to win the championship, you know that's a problem. When you know that when Bianca's on TV and the ratings do not move an inch, you know that's a problem. When you have people all over the community complaining about Bianca's promos and how it's not the way she was presented in NXT, you know that's a problem. Why am I going to give Bianca a title victory at WrestleMania because that's going to make her a star? No, that's not how you make a star. That's not. You have them win matches and you present them with a character that people are going to be invested in. Why do you think people love Sasha and Bayley no matter when they're babyface or heel? Why do people wanted Becky to be a face when she first became the man back in 2019? Or when was it? 2018. My bad. When Becky Lynch first became the man in 2018, they tried to force her into a heel, and we didn't want that. We complained about it, and they had no choice but to turn Becky into a babyface a couple months later, which was the best thing. Which was the best thing for Becky Lynch at that time. If Becky comes back as a heel now, that's different, because I feel like people would love to see a heel, the man Becky Lynch. But at the time, people wanted Becky to be a face. When Sasha Banks comes back, she's either going to be heel or face. But no matter what, people are going to be invested into her because they know her character, they know how good she is, and no matter what you give her, she's going to do her best to elevate herself and everybody in that storyline. Same thing with Bayley. And that's what Bayley is showcasing right now. Bianca's push was rushed. I don't care what you guys say about that anymore. Bianca's push was rushed. You guys wanted her to win at WrestleMania so badly because in your mind, if Bianca doesn't win, she's going to be buried. Even though in hindsight, she was not going to be buried. She was still going to be looked at as a star because of how badly Sasha pushed her over in that match. But now, Bianca is champion, right? And now the same people that told me months ago that Bianca has to win, and now that Bianca's title reign is off to a poor start, outside of that match with Bayley last night, they're nowhere to be found. I just sat up here for 5 minutes staring at my chat box, waiting for someone to give me an explanation, right, for what the WrestleMania win did for Bianca, and I got no answers. I got one answer from a guy who's not even subscribed to the channel. I'm subscribed to his channel. Are you kidding me, people? You kidding me? I told you guys after WrestleMania, I am going to be hard on Bianca because you guys forced me to be hard on her. You guys told me this had to happen. You guys told me this had to happen. I was going to be critical of everything Bianca did. And when she did something great, I would say, yes, she did great. Because I want Bianca to succeed. And right now, as the SmackDown Women's Champion, she's not succeeding. She's not. Dennis, what do you mean, Dennis, what you want me to say? Dennis, you were part of the people that told me Bianca had to win at WrestleMania. So keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. You can't switch sides now. I'm not letting that happen. I know everybody that came at me for saying Sasha had to win. Yes, I am a biased Sasha Banks fan, but objectively, for the better of the division, they should have waited to have Bianca win the title at SummerSlam. I am still saying, I'm keeping that to my chest, to that. You guys get my words messed up. I am keeping that to, I'm taking that to the grave. I'm taking that to the grave. Sasha should have won at Mania. Bianca should have won the title at SummerSlam. I'm sorry. I'm not changing my mind on that. I'm not. Yeah. Let's look in the chat real quick, because I don't want to spend too much time, because we still have to talk about the world title matches, because Raw starts in 30 minutes and we have another live stream right after Raw goes off the air. So let's look up in the chat real quick. First off, shout out to the Botch guy, man. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks, man. Man, you guys should know the Botch guy. You guys know he does reactions to everything that goes on WWE TV. He doesn't do like a 1 hour podcast like I do, but he does like 2 to 3 minute videos. But I love his videos as well. So the fact that he subbed to me, I'm subbed to him. That's great. Maybe one day we'll do a collab. You never know. That's awesome. But that is awesome. Let me look at the chat real quick. Paul said, if you think Sasha didn't make Bianca a bigger deal, that's disrespectful to Sasha. Beating Sasha means something because she's one of the biggest stars in the company. If she went in and lost, no one would believe in Bianca. At least Paul actually gave an explanation. Paul gave an explanation too. I respect your explanation, bro. I do. But I think that if Bianca lost to Sasha at WrestleMania, it would have been, Bianca, no one believes in Bianca. Because for Bianca to put that much effort and fall short to one of the best of all time, in my opinion, the best female wrestler we've ever seen, in my opinion, of course, right? I feel like people would have more respect for Bianca. Because you don't lose anything from losing to somebody better than you like that. You don't. On the grandest stage of them all, no, you don't. Because I feel like Carmella came out of the Sasha feud looking like a bigger star because of how much Sasha elevated her, even though Carmella lost those 2 matches. I feel like the same deal would be done on an even larger scale for Bianca and would build up more hype for Bianca to eventually win the title at SummerSlam. I'm not saying Sasha needed to hold that title for a full year. I'm just saying that they rushed Bianca. Everybody after the Royal Rumble was like, Bianca has to win. Bianca has to win. Bianca has to win. And you guys forgot. You guys were so focused on getting to that moment of Bianca winning that you didn't look at anything in between. You didn't look at Bianca's character and how she was being presented in the storyline. And how they made Bianca look like a bitch compared to her NXT character. Nobody looked at that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And now here we are. And now that Bianca's champion, now you guys want to complain about how Bianca's being presented. Where was this beforehand? You should have spent the summer building up to the rematch and fixing Bianca's character so that when she won at SummerSlam, she would be fully ready to take that SmackDown Women's title from SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania 38. Because once Bianca beat Sasha at SummerSlam, if they had done that, I would have Bianca hold that title for the next 8-9 months till WrestleMania. And then drop it to whoever. That's what I would have done. So at least Paul gave an explanation. The bots guy, he gave an explanation. JD, we all know where you stand. All right, Dennis, come on. Dennis, you never gave an explanation. You were one of the people that were telling me Bianca had to win. You're not defending your point now. I'm sorry. I'm looking in the chat. Sleeping Angels. I know how you feel. I know how you feel, bro. Malik, what's your explanation, huh? What'd you say? The WrestleMania win made her hanging in with the best and made her becoming a main eventer. She just got the title, but what has Sasha done with the title? Oh my gosh, Malik. Malik, are you blind? What? Dude, what? Malik, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are you kidding me right now? What did Sasha do with the title after? Sure, Sasha's reign could have been better, but everybody knew at that point how great Sasha was. She made a Carmella feud one of the best things on WWE TV. Are you kidding me right now? The match at TLC with Carmella? Huh? I have to explain that to you? Do I really have to explain that to you? Sasha and Bayley's segment, their match after Hell in a Cell was like the #1 segment for all of wrestling. For all of wrestling during that week. The Sasha versus Asuka match, the Survivor Series. She even made Nia Jax look like a decent wrestler. With the match her and Nia Jax had. What was it, a couple weeks before Fastlane, I think it was. So the thing about it is, the problem with Sasha's reign is they focused way too much on the tag team titles. Sasha and Bianca, if you never had any plans for them to win the tag titles, you should have never even done the feud to begin with. Sasha should have defended that title inside of the Elimination Chamber, beat Bianca at Mania, then during the summer had matches against like Chelsea Green, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, elevating those names while building up to the Bianca rematch. And then having Bianca win the title at SummerSlam would be the perfect way to have Sasha take a break from the title scene for a little bit while Bianca takes over the division that had already been elevated by the greatness of Sasha Banks. Do you guys see my mindset about that? By Sasha having those matches with Ruby Riott, with Liv Morgan, with a Chelsea Green if she was still with the company during the summer months, those people would be better prepared to feud with Bianca once Bianca won the title at SummerSlam. That's my logic. And Paul says it might have worked a little bit better if Sasha cheated to win at WrestleMania and then Bianca won at SummerSlam. Maybe. Hey, listen, you know I was the first one to complain when Sasha bitch slapped Bianca and she did nothing. Yes, you were. I know, Paul. Oh, my gosh. But at least, you know, you guys are understanding a little bit more from where I'm coming from. But my big thing here... See, I agree with you, Paul. My thing here is the way Bianca is being presented now is no different than how she was presented before WrestleMania. I just don't see, there's no difference. The only difference now is that Bianca is champion. She's not a bigger star than she was before WrestleMania. She's a bigger star on the level of what she did with Sasha Banks is iconic and will be remembered forever, but there's really no change in the Bianca pre-WrestleMania and Bianca now as champion. And that's a problem because the way Bianca was presented beforehand was garbage. The way she's being presented now as champion for the most part is garbage. She's being carried by Bayley in this feud. And that tells me that Bianca is not ready. I understand that we all know how great Bayley is. We understand how great Bayley is. But still, the fact that Bianca is getting carried by Bayley this badly and it's that noticeable, that's a problem. That is a problem that needs to be fixed. And the thing about it is, if you have Sasha regain that title at SummerSlam, here's the problem. People are now going to want to see Sasha lose the title at WrestleMania again. And Sasha cannot lose another WrestleMania match. Enough's enough. Enough. I'm not doing that narrative that Sasha needs to put people over at WrestleMania. I'm done with that. I'm done. She's done it enough. She's done it enough. But, maybe I'm going to hold off on the Bianca Bayley stuff because we can talk about this for another hour, but we do have Raw coming up in a little bit, so I kind of gotta get through the rest of the show. But let's say this. Let's say this about Bianca and Bayley. The match was great, mainly because Bayley is fantastic as a heel. Right? There was no story here, really. The storyline going into this match was piss poor. Piss poor, but. The thing about it is, Bianca dominated the early part of this match. Like, it was actually kind of crazy. I was like, whoa, they're really having Bianca, like, and I didn't mind it at first. But Bianca dominated the first part of the match, and then, eventually, Bayley was able to take advantage and, do her normal stuff. The big thing here was at the end, because I don't want to waste much more time on it, but Bianca near the end here, and I'm getting annoyed of it. Bianca using her hair every single match. And I understand, yes, Sasha used it against her, Bayley used it against her. I just don't like how WWE's relying on Bianca's hair thing being a part of every single match. Like, we all know the hair whip heard around the world at WrestleMania when Bianca slapped Sasha in the chest and started bleeding, right? And then tonight, or last night, Bayley cheated a little bit. She grabbed onto Bianca's hair, and she was able to hit a Bayley to belly. Bianca kicked out. And then eventually near the end, I believe the finish was Bianca rolled up Bayley, right? And then Bianca's hair was tied up against Bayley's leg. Yeah, she rolled up Bayley against Bayley's leg, and then that's how she got the win. But then Bayley was bitching and moaning, at ringside, saying, "Oh, she cheated. She's not a champion. Look, she had to use her hair to beat me." But if we're being fair, Bayley used Bianca's hair to try to win the match earlier, so it was like, kind of like an eye for an eye in a way. But clearly, this is gonna lead to some rematch happening at some point. Look, I don't know if Bayley and Bianca are. I don't think that's a Hell in a Cell match, if you ask me. I'm not ready for that. I don't know. If Sasha comes back and they turn into a triple threat, maybe. But there's no sign. Like, we won't know what's the deal with that until we get SmackDown this week. But it is something we have to pay attention to. Look. If they want to build to Bayley and Bianca at Hell in a Cell, with it not being a Hell in a Cell match, but they have an actual story here, I'm all for it. I'm all for just getting Bayley and Bianca one more time. Even though we've seen it a lot now. We've seen it at Backlash. We've seen it like 2 times before, back when Bianca and Bayley both were champion. But now, if you're going to build up to a rematch in Hell in a Cell, please, my request is give us a freaking story. Give us a story. That's all I ask for. Give us a story. Okay? And we'll talk more about Bianca and how. Let's hope. I'll just say this. Let's hope they get Bianca back on the right track. Because the way she's being presented right now, when Sasha comes back, people are going to want to see Sasha regain the title. If they continue presenting Bianca in the way that she is. Like, if people want Bayley to regain her title back right now, imagine how bad it's going to be when Sasha comes back. Especially if Sasha comes back in front of a live crowd. So that's my thing on that. So moving on. I didn't talk about this earlier, so... So, The Miz versus Damian Priest in a Lumberjack match. First of all, I was never excited to see this match to begin with. Never was excited to see it. Because, especially remember, we had just seen a Lumberjack match a couple weeks ago. Back when Miz was the WWE champion for like 8 days. We saw him lose the WWE Championship when Bobby Lashley destroyed him in a Lumberjack match, which wasn't that good. It was more about just seeing Bobby win the championship. That's what we all remember. That's the moment of Bobby finally winning a title, the WWE title. So I was like, if we didn't care about the Miz versus Bobby Lashley in a Lumberjack match for the WWE Championship, why would we care about the Miz versus Damian Priest in a Lumberjack match? So then it became clear that the only reason why this match was on the pay-per-view is a cross promotion for Batista's new movie. Right, Batista has a new Netflix movie. If you guys go on YouTube, I get the ads in almost every single YouTube video I watch these days. Right, Batista has a new movie called Army of the Dead, and it's it's almost like a Walking Dead movie. Right, he has to make this crew to fight zombies and stuff. So the cross promote, Batista sent out a tweet saying, "Oh, I won't be there at the Thunderdome tonight for Backlash, but some of my friends are." So clearly they had a bunch of Performance Center staff members, put in these had these outfits on, got makeup and everything to be dressed as zombies. And they were the Lumberjacks for this match. It wasn't normal WWE superstars. It was just these guys being these Lumberjacks dressed as zombies. And this was cringe. This was cringe. I don't care if this was a cross promotion. Why was this put on a pay-per-view? This is what I'm talking about. You have the New Day throwing Rotten Tomatoes. You have this. Imagine if they had tried to do this with a crowd. How bad it would have came off. The fans would have booed this shit out of the arena. They would have been like, what the hell? I didn't pay a ticket to watch the freaking Walking Dead in the WWE. No. This stuff has no business. I don't care. People are like, oh no, it's sports entertainment. It's fun. This kind of stuff has no business being in the product. None. There is no explanation for it. There is no reason for it. There is nothing. There's nothing you could say that's gonna make me believe otherwise. You should not have these types of matches or this type of nonsense here. I don't know. I just got an email about something. My bad. But like I said, we should never have that type of nonsense, in WWE. It doesn't belong there. If you want to put that in a WWE video game, right, something for the kids to have fun with, fine. Who cares? But in a WWE ring, no. Let's not waste our time. Please. So, I don't even want to talk about this, really. So, you had the zombies all around the ring, and it distracted both Priest and The Miz. So, all of a sudden, Morrison ran away backstage. So, then, what was it? Priest got thrown out of the ring. He took out a couple of zombies and then went back in. And then The Miz tried to go under the ring to run from them. And then he got back into coming out the other side. So then at one point, Miz and David Priest are fighting the zombies together, which was cringe. Then John Morrison came back to try to help as well. But all of a sudden, Miz got overtaken by the zombies. And when he got put back into the ring, Priest was able to get the win with the hit the lights, whatever it's called. And then right after he won the match, he immediately left the ring, right? And then all of a sudden he did his normal arrow spot where he shoots the arrow up into the sky, and then on the thing that was hanging over the ring, it showed Army of the Dead. So once again, right, this was to promote Batista's new movie. And then the segment ended with then, all of a sudden you see Morrison. He's getting grabbed by zombies over the barricade. And then The Miz is in the ring getting devoured by zombies. You get to see, it looked bad because the zombies are just standing there just grabbing on air. They're not grabbing at The Miz. They're just grabbing at the air. So, I don't know. It's going to look even more wacky if The Miz ends up on TV tonight. It's going to look very, very, very wacky if The Miz shows up tonight. But either way, I don't care. I don't care. And I just, oh, wow. I just got an email that Tamina and Natalia are going to be on Monday Night Raw tonight. Yay! I'm so excited. So excited. I cannot wait to see the new Women's Tag Team Champions on Raw. You guys can hear I'm bullshitting you guys. I'm bullshitting you guys in my voice. But either way, you guys get the point. But yeah, but anyway, like I said, this is the type of stuff that doesn't belong in WWE. It doesn't belong there. It shouldn't be there. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right. Either way, okay, let's talk about something else. I don't know. I don't even know why I spent so much time talking about the damn zombies. Let's talk about the WWE Championship. So the triple threat match: Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Fight of the Titans, basically. And I've been telling you guys for weeks, if you guys have been watching the Raw reviews, I did not care about this match. At one point, Drew McIntyre getting another WWE Championship opportunity. I'm just like, why? Why? I don't care. And Braun Strowman, I don't care about Braun Strowman either. The only thing that matters is that Bobby Lashley remains WWE Champion as long as possible, so that at some point this year, when fans get back in attendance, we can get the Bobby Lashley-Brock Lesnar match we've all been wanting to see for so long. That should be the match at SummerSlam. The priority should not be Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. The priority should be Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. That should be our priority. And with every dominant victory Lashley gets, the closer we get to that. At least I hope that's what we're getting. Either way, this match was surprising. This match was surprising because this was a really good triple threat match. It was just fast. With a triple threat match where you have three big hitters, right? Strowman, Lashley, McIntyre. You have to have nonstop action. You can't have these two doing rest holds. No, you have these two. You have to have destruction everywhere. They're hard hitters. They're heavyweights for a reason. We expect bodies to be everywhere, carnage to be taking place. So this was really good. The match started and it was just complete anarchy, chaos everywhere. So Lashley tried to offer McIntyre an alliance to take out Strowman, but Strowman took both men before anything could happen. So then all of a sudden, we see Lashley and McIntyre start working together. They lifted Strowman up for a really good double vertical suplex, and then Lashley and McIntyre went after each other. So Lashley got hit with a belly to belly. Then Strowman did what looked like a cannonball, KO's move. He did a cannonball from diving off the apron, which looked really, really good. And this is what surprised me about this match, especially for Strowman and McIntyre. They did moves that we've never seen them do before. When do you see Strowman do a cannonball? Someone doing a cannonball, especially somebody his height, doing a cannonball, that's super impressive and super cool. Anyway, like I was saying, sorry, I had a text. Yeah, but the fact that Strowman did a cannonball, I was like, yes, this is what I want to see. One of the reasons why I always say Sasha Banks and Kofi Kingston are my favorite wrestlers are they're always doing new stuff in the ring to involve their movesets. You never know what they're going to pull out. Like Sasha doing a 720 DDT. Or freaking Kofi Kingston doing a double drop kick from the top rope to the outside of the ring on his opponent. Like, when you're involving your moveset, and that shows me that you're getting better and better. John Cena does this all the time. Go back and look at John Cena's biggest matches. That's when he always pulls out new moves. No matter if it's a stunner or it's a Hurricane Rana on CM Punk. it doesn't matter. When you show that you're evolving your moveset, that makes you so much more dangerous, and it makes you so much more enjoyable to watch as a performer. So the fact that I saw Strowman and McIntyre doing that in this match was great. Great. But yeah, like I said, that was a really enjoyable. But yeah. Sorry, I'm getting text messages. But I really enjoyed that part of the match. Uh, so Strowman does the cannonball, which I said was really good. So then we see Lashley take on McIntyre. Strowman hit the WWE champion with a set of steel steps. Like I said, this was like constant action. So one thing after another kept taking place. So then McIntyre and Lashley fought on the stage until McIntyre threw Lashley through part of the set, and then you knew where this was gonna go, right? So after McIntyre pushed Lashley through the set, McIntyre's looking through the set, and you have the LEDs going off, explosives, all that. You're wondering like where the hell is Lashley, right? So clearly they were setting it up for Lashley to come in at the end of the match to get the win. Trying to make you like forget that he's evolved, making you think, especially if you're a casual, it makes you think that, all right, this is going to be decided between Strowman and McIntyre, but Lashley's going to come in at the last minute to get his revenge and win. And that's exactly what happened. Strowman and McIntyre traded near falls when they got back into the ring. McIntyre hit Strowman with a beautiful looking Michinoku driver. Like I said, that's another example of evolving his moveset, something we don't see McIntyre do that often. So then we see Strowman powerbomb him through the announce table, which looked really good as well. But then back in the ring, McIntyre hit a Claymore kick. Lastly, then returned, threw McIntyre out of the ring, and then he hit a spear on Strowman, solidifying his victory. So, Lashley gets the win in what was a really good triple threat match. I popped when I saw that. Every time I see Lashley, I like to pump my guns like I'm him, like, almighty, baby. Like, I love Lashley, and I'm glad he got the victory. Clearly, you guys could see where this goes. Strowman having to be hit with 2 finishers consecutively to be kept down, it makes him continue to look strong. McIntyre not getting pinned, of course, especially since he's the babyface here. That could set up for another match with Lashley, even though I'm kind of tired of it at this point. And it's most likely that we're going to get Lashley and McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell. That's probably where this feud's going to end. But still, Lashley continuing his dominance. That's all I want. That's all I want. And as long as this eventually leads to Lashley versus Lesnar, I couldn't ask for anything else. That's all I want at the end of the day. This was a great match. Great stuff here. Makes Lashley look dominant. It helped all 3 men at the end of the day. Good stuff. I didn't expect much from this match, but it really did surprise me. So really good stuff. So last but not least, we got the head of the table, the tribal chief, the universal champion, Roman Reigns. Oh, what up, Anthony? You're late to the stream again, like usual. Awkward pause. Yes, we do some awkward pauses when we're on stream. All right, if this was a pre-recorded podcast, you don't have an awkward pause. But when you're streaming for an hour and a half, of course, there's gonna be an awkward pause here and there. Oh my gosh! So Raw's about to start, right? Raw's about to start. I have it playing in the background on mute. So, like I said, I don't expect anything important to happen here to start Raw, because when does that ever happen? But, either way, we're going to end the stream here in a little bit, because I have to be right back here at 11 o'clock anyway. So, but yeah. Let me load up USA Network on this nonsense. All right, yep, Raw's starting right now. So, but still, I ain't rushing. We're talking about the tribal chief, the head of the table. So, before the match, earlier in the night, so Jimmy Uso went into Roman's locker room to wish Roman luck. Remember, Jimmy kept telling Roman, like, I don't think you can beat Cesaro clean, you know? And Roman was like, really? Then I guess I'll just have to show you. And then before the match started, Roman tells Jey Uso, stay back. Because, you know, it looked like Jey had a little bit of doubt in his voice because Jimmy's thoughts were flowing through his head. And I love how Roman's like the head of the table. Roman's like, you know, like, stay back, man. I got to do my thing, right? Roman is fantastic. This is the Roman. I say it every podcast, but this is the Roman we should have had for years, man. He is so great in this role. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him as the head of the table. He should have never been a heel. I mean, a babyface. You know, never been. All right, we have Bobby Lashley getting escorted by a bunch of girls to start Monday Night Raw. And, of course, Bobby got the nice little suit game on fleek. I like it. Like I said, I need to learn how to dress like Bobby Lashley, man. If he has his own, like, suit clothing line that I don't know about, I need it. Either way, you know, but, yeah, we got Raw going on in the background. Back to Roman Reigns. Roman's theme song. A lot of you guys a couple weeks ago said you didn't like Roman's theme. I told you, give it a month and you guys would love it. I loved it from the first time I heard it. It's like a final boss in any video game that you play. The music's incredible. When Roman comes out, he has that slow intro and then it goes like boom, boom. I love it. I love Roman's theme, man. When WWE 2K22 comes out, they better have that theme ready to go in the game. It better be ready to go, man. But even though I feel like everybody's gonna have it, I don't care. I do not care. I'm putting out my CAC right away. All right. So Lashley's coming out right now on Raw, but anyway, Roman's theme song is so good. And his entrance fits it so well. Sometimes I do wish Roman didn't take 5 hours to get to the ring, but still, you know, his theme song's so good that sometimes like I forget that he walks out to the ring so slow. So this match started off slow, but you knew it was gonna pick up the pace, especially with Cesaro in there, right? The way this match went down, fantastic. This is why Roman is now in the conversation for best wrestler in the world. We should talk about how much of a star Roman is. We could talk about how Roman's the best champion in WWE. But now he's just performing on a level where he's actually in the conversation for being one of the best wrestlers in the ring in the world today. He's now in that conversation. We never said that about Roman when he was a babyface. Never. Even when he had a great match. But now with the level of work that he is operating on, not only from a character perspective, but from his in-ring work and his moveset and the way he choreographs his matches, he's now in that conversation, in my opinion, for one of the best wrestlers in the world. All right? Yo, Anthony, man, get the hell out of here. I ain't missing jack shit. I ain't missing anything. All right? And where I do think Sasha should be on the cover of WWE 2K22. I would have her and Drew McIntyre. I feel like that would be the perfect cover. Anyway, so Roman backs Cesaro to the corner. Make sure you guys are letting me know what's going on with Raw. Like, I have it in the background. I see Lashley in the ring with a bunch of girls. But still. So Roman backs Cesaro to the corner. They made a clean break. Reigns scored the first takedown with a shoulder tackle. Then Cesaro returned the favor and got a few near falls. And I love it. Roman goes, you know, like, remember, Roman said that Cesaro would never be on his level. So then when Roman saw that Cesaro was keeping up with him, Roman takes a breather like, okay. I wasn't expecting that, but still. I was loving the way this match was being put up. So then they start trading strikes. Roman took control again and beat Cesaro down in the corner, but then Cesaro drilled him with a pop-up uppercut out of nowhere, which looked beautiful. So then he brought down Roman with a corkscrew plancha over the top rope, then a running uppercut and a crossbody. Cesaro was, gaining momentum, but then Roman countered him on the apron and hit him with a huge upper hand. And so then he started focusing on Cesaro's arm because, if Cesaro's arm is injured, it's going to be harder for him to do the swing, the neutralizer, and do his big moves. So then Reigns even addressed, there was a part here, Reigns is beating down on Cesaro's arm, and it reminded Roman of Daniel Bryan, right? So then Roman addresses Daniel Bryan through the camera while he's punishing Cesaro. Roman's just on that level of heel work right now. Like, he's beating down Cesaro, and then he's talking shit about Daniel Bryan, who he barred from SmackDown a couple weeks ago. So I'm just like, damn, Roman's really like that. He don't care. He don't care. He's talking shit to another guy while talking shit to another guy while beating down another man. All right. So then Cesaro began to build some more momentum. He hit a superplex from the apron for a 2 count. Reigns counted the neutralizer and locked in the armbar. And then Cesaro broke free, but then he got hit with a beautiful looking Superman punch. Then Cesaro broke a guillotine choke and put Reigns in the sharpshooter. Cesaro actually knows how to do the sharpshooter. It's not that BS one that The Rock does. Cesaro's sharpshooter, the way Roman's back was bending, really good stuff. Then Roman put him back in the guillotine and choked him out to win after a long struggle. And the way Roman choked Cesaro out, you could see the veins on Cesaro's head. That was a legit guillotine. Looked crazy. And then, all right, so Drew McIntyre is coming out on Raw to confront Bobby Lashley. Yeah, like we're not surprised. But either way, man, I really loved the ending of that match. The way they were trading submissions at the end there. Really love it. It also shows how much Roman has improved. There was a point that Cesaro, he had like an armbar in, and then he countered it into a crossface. Looked beautiful. Beautiful counter. Great stuff here. And then Roman, of course, went in with the guillotine. And then you could see the pressure on Cesaro's forehead, man. Really good stuff. And you could tell that Roman had gained, Cesaro had gained Roman's respect after the match, after such a battle. This was a match that went on, I think close to 25 minutes. So really great stuff here from Roman and Cesaro. And it was great that Cesaro finally got that big match, because this is a match people are gonna go back and watch. The only thing is Cesaro, he's never had that moment like that. You think of the John Cena United States Championship match from like 2015, but now Cesaro actually has that big match that people are going to go back and watch for years and years to come. The only thing is, it didn't take place in front of a crowd. But who cares? It was fantastic. The way it was, whoever helped produce that match, they deserve a round of applause. That was great. So what happened after the match is, Jey Uso comes out. He acknowledges Roman as the tribal chief, right? And then Jey Uso attacks Cesaro with Reigns' blessing. So Reigns, he's like, I respect Cesaro, but thing about it is, I'm still the head of the table. I still make the rules. So that's why Jey beats him down. So then Seth comes in. Seth is wearing this, this like paint drop suit. I'm like, what? So then, yeah, Seth, I don't know. Some weeks Seth looks great. Some weeks he doesn't. But Seth came out with this suit, right? And then he's laughing in Reigns' face like, ha, 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 ha. And then Roman's like, just staring him down. But then Seth goes down and starts beating the hell out of Cesaro while Reigns is like, oh, I've already done my job, right? My job's done. And he just leaves. And then Rollins He put a chair on Cesaro's arm, whips it into the ring post, and then he hits a stomp on Cesaro on the outside of the ring to end the show. And that was it. Right? So it's a little confusing now. Clearly, you can make an argument that what would make the most sense is Cesaro versus Rollins, maybe even inside Hell in a Cell. Maybe, right? But clearly this feud is not done. But, you know, Anthony's like, somebody let me know when Jinder comes out, please. Hilarious. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley for the championship tonight. Oh my gosh, don't do that to me, man. Don't do that to me, man. Don't care. I like living. But what would make the most sense is for Cesaro and Roman, or not Cesaro and Rollins. They need to finish off their feud. And then I don't know who Roman faces next. This is why I'm saying you probably need a superstar shakeup. That's probably what you need. Because you're starting to run out of challenges for Roman. And honestly, if you want Roman to hold on to that title all the way till WrestleMania next year, I'm all for it. He's that good. But, if you're not going to do a superstar shakeup, you may be forced to have Reigns lose that title at SummerSlam to, say, Seth. And think about this, Seth's not ready to be a babyface. The way his character is, he's not ready to turn babyface yet. So, I don't know. I know a lot of people are thinking they do either Jimmy versus Jey Uso or maybe even Reigns versus Jimmy Uso, right? And if Jimmy loses to either man, then, Jimmy's forced to fall in line. I'm all for it. Reigns, honestly, if Reigns doesn't defend the title at Hell in a Cell, I'm not complaining. Because Reigns has looked so dominant in the ring that if you want to have him miss, a one pay-per-view without defending the title, who's going to complain? He's beating everybody dominantly. Right? I know some people are like, maybe you can do the Reigns versus Edge match. Yes, maybe you could do that. I just don't know if WWE has plans for Edge to return yet. But there's, maybe you can build up Big E. Because remember, a lot of people had Big E winning the Rumble and being the guy to defeat Roman. But Big E's still in the IC title feud right now. So we'll see. But I think that WWE needs to come up with an end game for Roman Reigns as Universal Champion. I feel like that is what needs to be done now more than ever. Because Roman's beating everybody, and he's looking dominant, and he's great. But we all know one problem that arises is when you have someone look so dominantly that beats everybody, that it becomes hard to find, challengers. And then when you do find challengers for them, you have to have them built to a level where they're actually believable enough that they can beat Roman. Because Roman is so dominant as he is right now. So Bobby Lashley's doing a WWE Championship Open Challenge. Oh, that should be interesting. So maybe Keith Lee comes back, right? I hope it's not. I hope they're not doing the Open Challenge to have McIntyre or Strowman come out. I hope it's actually like, maybe it sets up a big return, like maybe like Keith Lee. But yeah, either way though. And we have AJ versus Elias. I don't really care about that, but whatever. It looks like AJ. It looks like AJ just shaved again. But yeah, you're right, Paul. It would not be hard it would not be hard to find challenges that WWE knew how to book. Like I said, you could do Roman versus Edge again. You could do Roman versus Edge 101 because we didn't see them singles match. You can do Roman versus Big E, but remember, Big E's still in the IC title picture right now. You could do Roman versus Seth, but you can't do that yet because Seth's not ready to be a babyface. He's still way too much of a heel. So, and, we'll see what happens with, Rollins and Cesaro. But those are the two that come to my mind. If you do a shakeup, of course, things can be a little bit different. You can have McIntyre. You can have Keith Lee move to SmackDown. There's endless possibilities, really. So, yeah. But other than that, that's about it. I'm going to actually, get out of here, see what happens with Raw. because I got to be back on here talking about Raw in about 3 hours anyway. So we'll see. Malik, you said Keith Lee versus Roman at SummerSlam. I am not against that. But the thing about it is you need Keith Lee back on television, and you have to build him up. You got to make him look strong. You got to make him look strong. Remember, Keith and Roman do have history from Survivor Series a couple years ago. But Keith has to be put back on television first. What did he send me, Anthony? Anthony said, Jinder Mahal. No. Oh, my gosh. Imagine that. Jinder Mahal versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship tonight. And you sent me that video from JD. Oh. Yo, if we get that tonight, I don't know. But golly, that's the perfect. Now we have something to look at. Lashley versus Jinder Mahal tonight for the WWE Championship. Imagine that. That's a 5-star match waiting to happen, right? Because Jinder's one of the best in the world, right? Either way, guys, that's about it for right now. Like I said, guys, if you guys are new to the channel, if you guys are in the stream, and you guys are watching this and you guys are not subscribed, why aren't you guys subscribed? What the hell are you guys doing? Hit that big red button and hit the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. But we are going to be back here, if you guys are on the stream, of course, right? We'll be back here in less than 3 hours reviewing Monday Night Raw. Oh, wow. They just announced Asuka versus Charlotte tonight, people. Of course. Asuka's going to be buried again, right? Asuka's been pinned by Rhea Ripley the last, 4 weeks. Yeah, Rhea Ripley's pinned Asuka 3 times in the last 4 weeks. Now they're just going to put the icing on the cake of taking Asuka out of the title picture by having Charlotte beat Asuka tonight. Well, great. Great job. Rest in peace, Asuka. The burial continues. Tragic. But either way, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream, like I said. Make sure you guys come back here for the Monday Night Raw review tonight if you guys are in the stream and you're not subscribed. But, man, I hate this, man. Why did Asuka always got to get done dirty? But either way, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We almost went 2 hours. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Hit the bell next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Also, guys, follow me down on social media. The links are in the description down below. All right, but like I said, I'll see you guys for the Raw review in a little bit. Thank you guys for everything. See y'all later. Peace.